All right, folks, what happened today is exactly what many of you watching this, or many realtors who are friends of mine and colleagues of mine who are in the industry every single day would have predicted: a 0.25% adjustment downward from the Bank of Canada. So is this exciting news? I'm going to say it's really not exciting news. It's pretty predictable. What's going to happen to the market from here? That's a really great question. The reality is we are nearing the end of July. We've only got a few more days before this month wraps up. And what happens in August, generally speaking, in the real estate market is the market goes to sleep. People go on holidays. People get their kids ready for elementary school in September. They get their university age kids off to school near the end of the month. The reality is real estate is not top of mind this month. So I'm going to break this video down into a couple different segments so it's easy to follow, and we're going to start with sellers, because if you're a seller and you've been hanging on just by the edges of your fingernails, like I say, unfortunately today's news is probably not going to change your short-term plans or goals. The question that you should be thinking about right now is, can I continue to hang on for at least another 6 to 9 months? Yes, I said 6 to 9 months. That's my personal prediction, and I'd love to hear from you. You can comment below on what you think. My personal prediction, after having been in real estate almost 14 years, is I don't think we're out of the woods, and I don't think we're going to see any major shift or change or curve to this market for at least a period of 6 to 9 months. So again, we're at the end of July now. August is probably going to be a wash. September, things don't get going until about the second or third week of September, and we are going into the winter. I know it's summer. Some of you watching this saying, how's she talking about winter? We're still in summer. The reality is winter comes very quickly. The shift in the market happens really quickly. As soon as Labor Day ends, we enter into a normal fall market. People's mind shift. Families are focused on getting their kids through the school year, and what they're thinking in the fall is, am I planning to be in or out of my new home before the holidays? If that's not going to happen, then people are going to put off their plans until the spring. That's why I say 6 to 9 months. If we see a shift in this market, my personal prediction is we're not going to see that show up until the spring of 2025. So if you're a seller, the one thing you should be asking yourself right now is, can I hang on until that new cycle, or do I need to make a decision very quickly, and I'm going to say in the next 35, 45 days, to get my house on the market in the month of September so that I can be sold and out by the end of the year, by the end of October, by the end of November, but likely by the end of December. Why is that an important thing to figure out right now? Because if you can hang on and continue to hang on for another 6 months, you might see a shift in the market and you might be happy with where the numbers go. But if you've been barely hanging on, can you ride this out for another 6 to 9 months? You have to think about that. You have to talk about that as a family, or you need to talk to your loved ones and really ask yourself if that is practical, if that is feasible, and if that's something that you even have the appetite for. Some people these days, truth is, they're going to bed with the really heavy weight of their financial investments or decisions on their chest, and they cannot hang on any longer. So if you're someone in that situation, or in that unfortunate boat, if you're looking to get out of that boat and start to stabilize and normalize your life, then this is your window of opportunity right now between this message and the end of August to actually seek out professional advice, whether it's from a lawyer or a real estate professional, to price your home properly. And I don't mean I hope, I need X, I want X. Really getting real about what your house is worth in today's market, and making a decision to rip off the Band-Aid and start fresh and start to get things in motion. So get out of this worry state, but actually get into action. Start decluttering their home, talking to people who need to get your home in tip-top shape to get you through to the other side, and making a custom plan that's unique to yours. And with all of that being said, you have to get a gut check on what your house is going to be worth, because as of today, and as of early this morning, I got to tell you, there are new stats that are coming out every single day, new sold data, and they are leveling our price expectations in every neighborhood, because some families just cannot hold on any longer. And you're going to see that in August. You're going to see lower sales in August in terms of prices for certain homes that have been sitting on the market for months and months. And that's just what's going to happen, is we're going to see the old inventory, even if it gets going and there's a little confidence that's restored in the market by today's announcement, you're going to see prices still slide downwards as families who are buyers and have cash on hand are going to take advantage of sellers that have been on the market for quite some time. So I think we're going to see a little bit of an adjustment down. We're also going to see new listings in September. So if you are on the market right now and you haven't been realistic about price, this is your opportunity really quickly to adjust your price and get it right. or to take a pause in the market, reevaluate your choice of realtor, reevaluate your price, your strategy, and your marketing, and decide if you want to come out as a fresh listing in September, because that is your window of opportunity. You're either going to go to the market in the fall, or you're going to wait until middle of January or early February to put your house back on the market. For buyers, if you're a buyer that's been sitting on the fence, many of you this year have been wondering what things will do, waiting for the right time to enter, and really it's like trying to time the stock market. You cannot perfectly time the stock market. I don't care how skilled you are. If you are thinking about entering the market as a buyer, the good news is this little adjustment and reduction in the interest rate probably can give you a little bit more affordability. But if you're looking for something that's a deal, quote unquote, the deals are probably right there, right now, sitting right under your nose. You may not have seen them if you're not looking for the right things. You may not have seen them if you're overlooking listings that have been on the market 30 or 60 days. I would say this is your opportunity to regroup and reset with your agent to find a great home. But remember, guys, everybody's sitting there waiting for the perfect time. There is no perfect time. If you're entering the market as a buyer, I'm going to tell you there's not going to be a better time than the current time, depending on your situation. So if you're a buyer and you're looking to buy and your plan to hold is anywhere from 5 to 7 years or more, then does it really matter whether you're entering this month or next month or the month after that? What I would say is what's more important is finding a good house in a good location that you can afford with payments that you can sleep with at night. But whether or not it's going to be, if we come down a 0.5% in the fall, is that going to restore confidence for you? It's probably going to create a little bit of acceleration. But if you're buying to hold, that little fluctuation of 3 to 5% in the grand scheme of your life, or the 5 to 7 year plan of holding that property, is not a really significant one. Because if you wait till the market is high, you might be giving up things like a home inspection condition. You might be giving up the opportunity to actually have your bank or your broker do proper due diligence when you're buying a property. And you might actually, more importantly than anything, lose the time that it takes to actually be in a home for half an hour or an hour time window to actually look at the house before you purchase it. For those of you who remember what the frenzy was like, people were in and out of houses in 15 minutes or less making decisions to buy things because they just couldn't grab a house before somebody else took it away from them. So I would say to you, there is a really good time right now that is upon us. We're buying a property with the conditions that you need to make sure that you can satisfy your purchase and sale agreement. There's no better time than right now. If you're looking to buy for 5 to 7 years, even with the land transfer tax and double land transfer tax in Toronto, it is still a really good time, and opportunities, I promise you, are going to be there in August. They might be old listings, but go through them, do an inspection, get your financing done, and make a decision on whether those deals are suitable for you and your family. But grab them, because come September, we're not promised an abundance of inventory, but I can tell you September, for those of us who've got pockets that are full, who are looking for great deals, it's a great time to be able to get out there and shop and look for deals. But right now you've got vulnerable listings, people that have been on the market for several months, that you might be able to squeeze a little bit more if you're looking for a good deal. I know sellers don't want to hear that, but that's the reality of a buyer's market, which we are absolutely in right now. All right, let's shift gears now. I told you I was going to break this video into a few different segments so it's easy to follow. Here's an important segment for those of you who are wondering where we think the market's going to go or what today's announcement will do. Effectively, in my personal and professional opinion, here it is. Here's the thing that I think today's announcement will actually do for people. For anybody who's holding a mortgage, let's say between $500,000 and $1 million. The higher mortgage that you have, the more relief you'll probably see if you're on a variable rate mortgage, because your payments will come down. If you're on a fixed rate, you're going to see no difference. You're going to be on a fixed payment for a fixed term, and you're not going to see any change or relief. The thing I want you to consider is if you're on a variable rate and you were drowning before, and I mean drowning. There are some families that are having a really hard time keeping up, and I hate to use that term, but it's the only way that visually I can sort of convey what I picture. People barely being able to keep their heads above water, or every month being submerged by their monthly payments. If you are a family that is barely able to continue to swim or tread water, the reality is if you're drowning and you get a little bit of relief, do we go from drowning to not drowning if we have a 0.25% cut? I don't think so. I think we go from drowning to basically starting to tread water. So what I want you to think about is if you're a seller who's anticipating selling or needing to sell, is if that state of drowning was uncomfortable and now you're in a state where you're treading water, I want you to really ask yourself whether it's logical, practical, feasible financially to continue to now tread water for the next 6 to 9 months? If the answer is yes, your family is committed, or you are committed to being able to tread water for the next 6 to 9 months, and you can do so comfortably without tiring out, burning out, or using up other financial reserves, whether it's pulling from RSPs, whether it's pulling from saving, or using credit cards or any other lines of credit to max out to continue to tread water. If you can survive and tread water for the next 6 to 9 months and wait for this tide to turn, then you might be a seller that's selling in 2025 fall. You might be a seller that's selling in 2025 spring. But if you're anybody else that is getting really tired of either treading water or tired of drowning and trying sucking in water, then what I would say to you is you need to take a really objective, hard look, because this situation didn't arrive overnight. Yes, it felt like the market taps shut off overnight, but it really wasn't. There were problems and fractures in the market that were becoming more and more evident as things were selling higher and higher every single month. And in some neighborhoods, we saw the price volume move 50, 100, 200K overnight. It's not going to, the ship is not going to steer in the right direction overnight. So there's very small corrections along the way. And today's quarter point is a very, very, very small correction, again, in the right direction. So I would ask you to think about whether another 0.5%, if it happens, and that's a big if between now and the end of the year, will be enough relief. So it's the hope that I'm going to throw you a lifeline in maybe 2 months to help you continue to tread water. But if you're a seller and you're tired of this and you want to hit reset, I would say there's no shame in hitting reset. For some people that we've had hit reset, they go from tense, uncomfortable, sleepless nights to instantly feeling a sense of relief and having a focus for something new that they can work towards. And whether that is ever entering the home ownership sphere again or circle again, that's up for personal debate. It really depends on what your personal situation is. But I got to tell you, when you've got debt on your back, it's very hard to think clearly. It's very hard to function at your work, at home, in your family life, and show up as a good husband or a good wife or a good parent. So I would ask you to really think about, and this is not a pitch for everybody should be selling their houses or everybody should be buying. This is really about being honest about what is your situation and how much longer you can continue to either tread water or live in this state of stress if you are in a level of stress. There are still homes that are selling in this market. People are still able to get out. We have successfully sold many homes this spring and summer. And for people who have been in trouble, and I have to tell you as a professional who does this every day for a living full time, there is a huge sense of relief and distinction that comes from being drowning and treading water to ripping that off and having people start fresh and start new, whether that's transitioning into a rental or transitioning into moving back home with the parents or with relatives for a period of time where you reset. They're very personal decisions, but the one thing I have to tell you, and I reinforce it on all of my videos, is seek help that's impartial. Seek advice from professionals, and professionals, again, realtors, lawyers, accountants, anybody that you hold close and trust and have long-standing relationships with. And sometimes you have to step out of your family or your sphere to actually get good objective advice, because your friends might be saying, hang on, you can't sell that house that you've been in. It's the pride of this, it's the pride of that. The reality is, really, I don't subscribe to that. Houses are bricks and mortar. And if you're in a crappy situation, you got to get out of it. It is way better to hit reset and rebuild something fresh and something new and make a new home where new memories can live, instead of living with that noose that just continues to tighten around your neck. So if you're looking for advice, if you're looking for an impartial but super honest and transparent agent who's going to give you just that honest advice, feel free to reach out to us. You can DM us. You can text me personally on my cell phone, 647-383-7653. And myself and my team would be more than happy to sit down with you confidentially to help you and your family get out of the situation that you're in. If you like this video and if you like the content we put out there, which is always organic, always timely, remember, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. But more importantly, if you're on either side of the fence in this conversation, seller, buyer, investor, whoever, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think. And I'd love to hear where you think this market is going, or where you've been finding good deals, or what it felt like to get out to the other side. Thanks always for watching. Jackie with the Othen Group.